The Semiotic Method. What is semiotics? Semiotics refers to a method of linguistic analysis that involves the examination of how signs operate within systems. Though semiotics originates in the field of linguistics, the principles of this method have been adopted to analyze culture, as is the case with the field of literary studies. While many people have contributed to the development of semiotics, the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, who developed his ideas at the beginning of the 20th century, is often considered the father of semiotics. Basically, a sign's meaning can be determined by differentiating the sign from other signs within its system. The traffic lights are often used to explain this idea. You know how to act and move about on the streets because of the system of colored lights. Red means stop, which is different from green and yellow. Each light has its own meaning because of its difference from the meanings of the other lights. Imagine how dangerous it would be if you couldn't distinguish the colors. You wouldn't be able to decode their meanings, and thus not know how to act safely. Yikes! This example also demonstrates how you've already been participating in the act of sign interpretation. Sign systems are everywhere we find meaning. It's important to know that not all systems are alike. Signs are system-based. For example, consider how an object in one language system is referred to differently in another language system. The English language word for book is different in Spanish. The Spanish word for book is libro. Signs are also prone to change in meaning over time. For instance, consider how people travel the world to tour different historical sites. What is now a place for the leisurely pursuit of tourism may have at one time been a sacred place of worship or a battlefield where people lost their lives fighting for a cause. So signs are not static, but dynamic, and we need to know the systems and histories to which they belong. This applies to literature. When we read a story, there are many systems and histories in play that contribute to the meanings of the story's signs, and to understand their significance, we must identify systems and histories proper to them. It was the work of French intellectual Roland Barthes that bridged the principles of semiotics to cultural analysis, when he used semiotics to interpret popular culture. Barthes exposed the political significance of ostensibly simple forms of entertainment, such as professional wrestling, children's toys, and striptease. Indeed, his applications of semiotics helps us understand how beliefs and values are behind cultural signs, and demonstrates how sign system analysis could be used to expose those concealed ideologies. These ideologies are worth uncovering because they consist of the interest and values that shape social behaviors. Consider debates that appear in the media about language on TV shows like South Park, or the violence that's so typical of video games like Call of Duty. Yes, the TV show and the video game are entertaining, and they are also sites of ideological conflict where one group's values are in competition with another's. Semiotics helps us decode the competing values, the politics of the signs around us. So how do we determine the meanings of cultural signs, or more appropriately to our class, the signs of the literary texts we'll be examining? We always need to first understand what our sign is, literally. The direct meaning of the sign refers to its denotative value. Then we can move to the sign's connotation, its indirect, hidden meaning. To ascertain what the sign connotes, you'll need to situate the sign within its system of related phenomena. That just means compare the sign to things that it's like. For instance, if you were analyzing the Twilight series, you should compare it to all other vampire movies and stories. To understand the sign of Twilight, its meanings, we'd need to associate it within the system of vampire stories. We could include another even larger system of monster lore, which includes the likes of Frankenstein and zombies. It just depends on how you want to analyze the sign and what kind of claim you're making. The next thing you do is differentiate your sign from the other signs in the system. Remember that differentiation must take into account how signs are based in particular systems and histories. Even though Edward of Twilight is a vampire, like Dracula, he's a romantic figure of desire, unlike Bram Stoker's vampire, who was primarily a supernatural creature to be feared, not loved. It'll take some time, but remember these following principles and you'll be applying the semiotic method to our reading successfully. Significance is based on relationships, so keep in mind that everything is connected. Use your insight from relating things together to search for the deeper meaning of a sign, so don't take things at face value. You must establish reasonable relationships, so logic plays a big role in sign interpretation. After all, you need reasons and evidence to prove that a sign means something. Because of the dynamic and unstable nature of signs, their significance is polysemous, or overdetermined. That means a sign can have multiple meanings. Just think about that tourist battlefield example. Finally, interests and values circulate within all cultural texts. With so many different sign systems and ideologies, there will be inevitably a competition of values. Question what seems normal or natural, or anything that seems obvious, especially when you hear yourself saying, "That's just the way it is." Those expressions indicate the dominant culture is at work, and we must question its authority. To understand what kind of social behavior, the interests and values behind it, is being promoted.